Camera gear, without a doubt, it's expensive. It's easy to just look at it and forget all about the price. Finance it, put it on a credit card, only to end up regretting it much later, even if it's not for a business expense. Fortunately, in this video, I have 10 pieces of camera gear equipment under $50 that'll help you on your creative endeavors that you can continue to use for a long time, whether you're a beginner or a seasoned pro. You see, over the past 9 years of starting my journey with photography and video, I spent lots of money and spent less money when it comes to improving my workflow and solving my creative problems with creative solutions. I've actually got more than 10 items here, but some of them are honorable mentions that didn't make it into my top 10 for under $50. For our first item, we have the 5-in-1 reflector. If you're looking to practice your lighting without having to spend hundreds on an out-of-budget light, such as this one next to me, one behind me over there, this light is not $50. But for under $50, you can use this reflector to really nail down your light and reflect the light onto your subjects, whether it's a product or a portrait kind of session going on. And yes, you can use it for video as well. We can use this for indoor and outdoor scenarios. Although this is a 5-in-1 reflector, once you unzip this cover, I only really use 2 of these sides. The first one being this silver side to really bounce back this white cool light back onto my subject's face, or even to create some kind of catch light in my subject's eyes to really bring life back into the photo. The other side that I use would actually be when you take this cover off, and as you see, there is mostly just some diffusion here. When I'm indoors and want a bigger spread of diffused light without using a softbox, or I don't even have a softbox, I just go ahead and place this in front of my cob light, CLB light, whatever you call, and just shine it right through to the other side. I just pretty much clamp this onto a light stand and adjust the clamp where I need it, whether I want to be straight on like this, tilted, whatever it may be. But if you want the opposite effect, you could also create some contrast by using the dark or black side, as you can introduce what they call negative fill. If you go ahead and place this on one side, well, I know I'm really blocking out the light here, but pretty much yes, to this effect. You go ahead and take away the light by using what they call negative fill on one side of your face or your subject's face. But whatever side you use, I like to use this next item, which is a clamp to secure it. This is specifically a photo clamp. I'll link it down in the description, but pretty much you can go ahead and adjust it with this knob right here on the side and then choose which kind of angle that you want. Usually it's like at a 90-degree angle. And then I'll place this on a little stud for a light stand. I use this clamp time and time again, and if you don't use this clamp for the reasons that I'm mentioning for this 5-in-1 reflector, you could also use it for something as cheap yet practical as a foam board to bounce light without having to invest in a reflector such as this. Or you can also clamp this onto some bulletin board paper or poster paper to serve as a seamless backdrop for your products or even your subject. Well, a person, and you just need a big enough bulletin board paper or seamless backdrop. I normally use bulletin board paper to create a backdrop for product photos and videos. As someone who creates content around gear, most often I will try to capture them in a clean looking environment, as I'm not the most well versed in indoor decorating or interior design. I'm not gonna paint my walls red, blue, or neon. We got poster board here that I got for $1. And I also have poster paper here that I got for $1. And all I have to do is just set this thing down. Of course, we want to use the clean side here. Clamp it like so, put on a light stand, and look at that, seamless backdrop. Just go ahead and place your item just like so. Perfect. So yeah, if you have an equivalent to a dollar store, then you save even more money. All right, for our next item, we have the Anker SD card reader. Of all the questions that I get the most when it comes to creating, this is one of the most common ones. How do I transfer these files to my phone? Personally, I'm the kind of person that just takes my files, put into my computer, specifically my MacBook Pro, and airdrop those files, should I need them, to my phone. This is mostly because most of the camera companies' apps that are just out there are too finicky and don't work well. There's connection issues, whether it's just connecting in general, or even just being able to have decent transfer speeds. So they're slow. So here I have this USB-C SD card reader by Anker that supports SD card and micro SD card. This is compatible with my iPhone 15 Pro, as well as my iPad Air 5 and my MacBook Pro. I don't need to carry a big bulky dongle and can just use this to quickly import my photos and videos and share them quickly. Anyway, depending on whether you use an Android phone that has USB-C or a Windows computer that has USB-C, this works well. But you could also use the regular USB-A, but of course, USB-A can't directly plug into your phone unless you have a dongle. But I don't have much experience doing it that way. As you continue to shoot more photos and videos, you'll quickly realize that you'll run out of storage, or at least need a backup. God forbid that any of your files get corrupted. So for our next item, we have an SD card holder that I found on Amazon. This one has 12 slots for SD cards, as well as micro SD cards, should you need them. I also have another one of these, but it's yellow, for my UHS-2 cards. But yeah, this is a very practical purchase. On top of this thing being waterproof, it's quite tough. I haven't tested this against the elements, whether it's rain, snow, or even external factors like running this over with a car or getting this breathed on by a dragon, but I'm confident that this will last and this will not break on me. And even if you say that you won't be using a lot of SD cards and this item seems useless, I still want to leave you with a practical purchase for your memory. Just shy of $55 is the Western Digital 1TB hard drive. If you're mainly taking photos, great, this will last you a while. Otherwise, video, consider getting another one in the future, especially when it's days like Prime Day or Black Friday, maybe even Christmas. Whether it's someone else's memories or your memories that you're planning to save, it's always best practice to have your own backup in case your laptop or computer fails. And if you don't have budget for an external hard drive, that's totally fine. At the very least, you could always invest in extra SD cards and just keep them safe as a backup until you can afford one. I generally recommend getting a SanDisk 128GB card, specifically the Extreme Pros. I believe it's inexpensive at $20 or something close to that. You can choose any of the Extreme models that you want, but of course, the higher transfer speeds will be beneficial to you when you're transferring the photos from your card to your computer or external hard drive. It's not a big deal if you only have a few photos or a few videos, but of course, if you have a much larger bulk, the faster is better. The same principle applies when it comes to hard drives. External hard drives are good, but solid state drives are even better. You can edit and transfer files out of both of them, but if you can invest in SSDs early on, it'll be more ideal if you travel and edit projects on the go with an external hard drive. You can edit and transfer files out of both of them, but if you can invest in SSDs early on, it'll be more ideal as you'll be traveling lighter and not have to worry about dropping it and losing your project files should anything go wrong. In regards to SD cards, if you mainly shoot photos, you can get away with multiple 64GB cards, as some photographers may say. But depending on how big the photo files are, maybe you want to go ahead and use multiple 128GB cards if you're shooting like large 40MP photos. But if you're shooting 4K video, I would recommend that at the very least you get 128GB cards as well. But if you're good with memory storage, this next item will be also helpful when it comes to tools. You see, when you start messing with cameras and adding cages to them and top handles and quick release plates, you'll often have to go ahead and carry around things like a hex wrench. My issue with carrying around those hex wrenches is that sometimes you just toss it in your bag and you lose it, and you're fumbling around for it, or it's kind of cumbersome when you're unscrewing your quick release plate and you have all your keys in the way. So the simple solution and practical solution is this little multi-tool by SmallRig. I believe Ulanzi makes something comparable to this. I just bought SmallRig because that's what was available at the time. Like, we have multiple hex size wrenches, some Phillips screwdriver. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty basic, but it's very functional. Condor Blue makes a pretty sweet version of this, but I don't necessarily think it's worth it for twice the price. So just get the SmallRig version. Yes, although this one is nicer, got a nice hefty feel to it, got a leveler and all this stuff. This is the one I actually end up grabbing just because it's easy to just swivel it out and use it right away, whereas this one I have to, I mean, yeah, this one is just as quick, but it feels like it takes a little longer. And even when you're not building new camera rigs, you still can't ignore some boring yet important maintenance things. Whether you're on the go or chilling at home, these lens wipes by Zeiss are a quick solution to keep your lenses nice and clean. It's handy if you don't have plenty of microfiber cloths in every camera bag, or even places like your car or even desk that you own. They're affordable, and even if you can't get them in bulk, you may even find them in some US dollar stores for even fewer quantities. I think I probably paid like 10, 20 bucks for like hundreds of these, something like that. If you need more deep cleaning, then you'll need one of these sensor cleaning kits. See this right here? This is your camera sensor. You clean this when an air blower won't do the job. Just please watch a tutorial on how to use a sensor cleaning kit, because if you do mess it up, your camera's just gonna be wrecked. Most of you only need the APS-C sensor cleaning kit, while others may need the full frame cleaning kit for the bigger sensor. This is pretty much like a soft applicator or brush, if you will, with some solution dropped on it on this part, okay, not directly on the sensor, where it goes and removes debris that can't be removed with our next item, which is a air blower. I know the popular version is the rocket blower, but this is the version that I have. Before even bothering with a sensor cleaner, I just go ahead and hold my camera upside down and then go ahead and take this and blow air right into it, and any dust and debris will just naturally fall down with gravity after being displaced with a strong force of air. Most of the time, this is plenty enough, and I don't have to bother with a sensor cleaner. But if you really want to be fancy, they also do sell an electronic version of an air blower. I've yet to try it for myself, but everyone who does have it seems to love it. Before mentioning our 10th item, I do have honorable mentions. The first one being UV filters. These are filters that you go ahead and stick in the front of your camera lens to block out UV light, and some remove some color casts from your images. I did used to have these for all of my lenses, but I mostly use it more for protection. I no longer use them, as I didn't like having to unmount these and mount them on again when I switched back and forth from ND filters and all the other filters that I would try out. One accessory that I like to have for my external hard drive is a hard drive holder that you can go ahead and mount on the back of your laptop. Nowadays, external hard drives are getting smaller, and as you may be on the go with your hard drive attached, you don't want to accidentally disconnect and risk corrupting your project files just because of a loose cable getting caught on something or simply just flopping around in the wind. So while others use Velcro to secure their small hard drives to the back of their laptops, I use this SSD hard drive holder to house my small 2TB SSD. I haven't had any issues with this peeling off nor disconnecting from my laptop when I'm opening and closing the screen. But of all the accessories that I've used in my camera kit, a battery bank has always been included. I used to use these specific Anker power banks to charge my batteries on the go. But as powerful as technology is getting, so is the battery life sucking power. So I've upgraded to a power delivery power bank and retired my older power banks. The one I'm currently using is from RAV Power. I don't think they make power banks anymore, but this specifically is their 60-watt version that's able to keep my laptop charged when on the go, specifically when I'm in the car editing. But this isn't a $50 item, nor is it sold anymore. So alternatively, my last and probably one of the most underrated accessories is the Ugreen 100-watt USB-C car charger. Since owning the iPhone 15 Pro, I've needed to upgrade my car charger to a power delivery charger. Every now and then, when I'm on a travel trip by car, I take photos and I edit them on the ride home. Although the MacBook Pro has been pretty good for battery life, I feel secure knowing that I'm not in need of a battery bank just to keep going. And this small device can keep my MacBook Pro 14-inch charged even in an hour of photo editing and web browsing. If I was video editing, I'd feel confident that this would last a long road trip. Most of these items are nearly essential for me as a creative, but I'm sure there's still other $50 photo video items that you could recommend. So let us know in the comments what those are, or even gear that's even less than $50 or over.